Welcome to Crimepedia. I am your host this week. My name is Morgan. I hope you are having a wonderful day. I am finally back from vacation and looking forward to sharing another true crime case with you. With me, as always, is the lovely Cherry, my true crime BFF. Hello, Cherry. How are you?
I am great, thank you. I have not come back from vacation, but I'm good. I'm ready for my vacation. I'm off to America next week.
Oh, you are?
Yes, I'm coming to the States. Watch out.
We have really a busy 5 or 6 weeks ahead of us here.
We do, yeah. We've got True Crime Fest in Arkansas, which is going to be amazing. The first of its kind in that area. And then that's May 20th. And then we've got CrimeCon UK in London, new location. And that's going to be in June the 11th and 12th, I think. All right.
That sounds right.
That's that weekend, yeah. And
it is.
If you would like to win yourself tickets to CrimeCon in London this June, all you have to do is enter our competition. Go on to our Instagram and you will find all the details for the competition, either mine or Morgan's or the Crimepedia Instagram, and you can do like loads of entries for doing different things, which is great. So it gives you a good chance to get yourself a pair of tickets for the weekend at CrimeCon UK, which is gonna be amazing.
Yeah, and these are the full-blown tickets. These aren't the taster tickets.
No, these are cool.
Gives you access to everything.
And we did last year, didn't we? Samantha won the tickets last year, didn't she? I think, and she came to CrimeCon and she loved it. So if you want to find out, Samantha's a girl. She'll tell you how cool it was and how brilliant it is. And she's coming back this year, so it must have been good.
Yeah,
it's going to be great.
So it's really exciting, and so make sure you if you check that out and
it's free entry too. Free entry to the competition.
Yeah, get your free entries.
Do it. What have you got to lose? Nothing.
Yeah. No. Yeah, so I mean, this is open to pretty much everyone. Most of the people so far have been, of course, from England. We have a few entries from the United States, so that'd be really exciting if someone.
Didn't we have someone from Sweden as well? Didn't someone from Sweden? We had a Swedish.
Yes,
yeah. Get in there. It's going to be good.
Absolutely.
I'm excited.
So you have until Thursday, this Thursday, which is what was it, May 11th. 2023. So if you're listening to this in the future, I'm sorry that you missed out on this competition, but I'm sure that we're going to have other things down the road that you can definitely sign up for. So so get your entries in as soon as possible. All right, Cherry. So anything else before we get into this week's episode?
I believe we have a new Patreon.
We do have a new Patreon.
We do. So we've got to say thank you very, very much for joining us, Charlie. On our new on our Patreon crew. We really appreciate it. Thank you very much for all of your support, and to everyone that supports us on Patreon. We really do appreciate it. It helps to keep our little podcast going because we're an indie podcast, and it does keeps us in chocolate and like cheese and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you can sign up for as little as £2 a month.
Yeah,
so
bargain.
Really, it's a bargain. Huge bargain. So look, you get some added content with that, of course. You'll get access to all of our Crimepedia extras, which is basically me and Cherry rambling on for usually about a half an hour.
Yeah, it's usually a little bit more fun. It's not as serious as our main show. It's a little bit more...
It is not serious.
No, and it's not scripted. So quite a lot we go off on a tangent about all sorts of stuff.
Yep, we do some live shows, so live streaming episodes where a lot of times we'll bring in some of our other true crime podcast friends to join us. So if you're interested in that, you can sign up for Patreon by going to patreon.com/Crimepedia. All right. Well, with that, how about we get into this week's case?
Let's go.
It's been more than 4 decades since 19-year-old Theresa Corley was found murdered in a wooded area off of Interstate 495 near Bellingham, Massachusetts. The investigation into her murder would reveal a series of horrific events that she suffered the same night as her death. Despite numerous setbacks in her case, Theresa's family have continued to seek the truth and hold on to hope that today might be the day that her killer is brought to justice. This is Crimepedia, and this is The Murder of Theresa Corley. All right, Cherry. Theresa Corley was a promising 19-year-old student who had a bright future ahead of her. Her untimely death sent shockwaves through the town of Bellingham, Massachusetts. She had been a hardworking student who was well-liked by everyone who knew her. After graduating from Bellingham High School, Theresa had begun studying to become a medical assistant at Holston Junior College. To support herself, she worked part-time at a factory called Penthouse Sales, located in the nearby town of Franklin.
Oh, bless her. She's working part-time as well as at school.
Yes, yeah. So she's working part-time.
Bless her.
Really, it's hard to do. I tried to do that when I was in school. It did not work out.
You've got to have a lot of respect for somebody who's like keeping down a job as well as going to school and like working as well.
Oh, yeah.
You've got to have a lot of respect for people doing that. That's hard. Good for her.
Absolutely. December 4th, 1978 was her brother John's birthday. That day, she had been working at Penthouse Sales and was to be picked up after work by her mother and sister Jerry. Theresa would tell her mother that she was going out after work to celebrate a coworker's birthday. She asked her mother to tell John that she had not forgotten about his birthday and that she'd be taking him to a concert a couple of days later. So, very good sister. While
that's nice,
she wasn't going to be able to be there for his birthday, she was like, let him know that I'm taking him to her concert and I had not forgotten about him.
That's nice.
Very good sister. Now, after leaving work at 7 p.m., Theresa would meet up with some friends and coworkers at a bar called the Train Stop Lounge, which was located on Depot Street in Franklin. Now, around midnight, an argument broke out between Theresa and her then-boyfriend, Rick, prompting her to leave the bar. Now, according to witnesses at the bar, Theresa was upset that one of Rick's ex-girlfriends had shown up and was seemingly flirting with him. So obviously,
that's not going to be good.
When, it doesn't matter who your boyfriend's flirting with or who's flirting with your boyfriend.
Yeah, it's not nice.
If it's an ex-girlfriend, yeah, you're definitely going to be upset. And, this is 5 hours after she left work. So 5 hours of drinking. It's midnight.
Yeah.
It's not going to be good.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, seeking a ride home, she would first ask a friend for a lift, but was turned down as her friend wanted to stay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, this frustrated Theresa, so she went ahead and made a decision that she was going to walk home alone, which would have been a little bit more than 5 miles to walk. So that's
a long way.
That's
time
quite a bit to walk.
Yeah. On her own, too.
And this is December.
It's cold.
It's on her own. It's in December. It is cold.
Yeah.
So that's probably not
a good
smartest
idea.
choice to make.
No,
it's not a good idea.
Bless her.
Now, after leaving the Train Stop Lounge, Theresa would be picked up by a group of three guys who convinced her to go with them to a party at the Presidential Arms Apartments, which were located on West Central Street in Franklin. While it's unknown if they had just happened to cross paths with Theresa, there is some thoughts that these three guys were also at the Train Stop Lounge.
Okay.
And actually had followed Theresa out after she left.
Oh, dear.
So, to me, it seems like they may have been targeting her. They were like, okay, let's go. Let's go. Let's get her and, see if she wants to go party more with us.
Yeah.
Okay. And one of the reasons why this is a possibility, because when she was back at the apartment, at some point, at least one of the men began to sexually assault Theresa in her bedroom.
Oh, no.
While the other two were holding her down and then later attempted to join in.
That's just crap.
It is very crap.
That's awful. That poor girl.
It is very crap. Now, this whole situation at the apartment is...
If you're with your friends, right, and your friends go, I know, let's hold this girl down while you do stuff. What? Why would you even think that that's okay? One of my friends suggested that. I'd be like, you need to get out, leave that girl alone.
Yeah.
Why would you even do that? How in their stupid tiny little minds, the three of them, how is that something they've thought would be fun and okay? I don't understand how having sex or touching somebody who is not consenting, how is that fun for
Mhm.
you? Like, that's not fun. She's not having sex with you or doing stuff with you because she wants to. It's because you're making her.
Mhm.
That's not fun. That's not
Exactly.
good.
Now, there's a lot of rumors that are out there,
Mm.
or pieces of information
Yeah.
that are out there about this gathering, where it seems like at least at some point Theresa might have offered to have sex with all of them if they let her go. So she was at the point
Oh,
where
bless her. She's bargaining
she
to
was
try and
willing to
get
do
away.
anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. She was like, I have to get out of here, so I'm going to do whatever it takes to get
to
out
try
of
and
this place.
safely get out so that they might not hurt her.
Exactly.
What an awful position to
Exactly.
be in. That's horrific. That's horrible for her family to hear. That's horrible.
I could
That's
not
horrible.
imagine.
No, that's horrible.
I couldn't imagine.
How can
a
you live with
situation like
yourself
this.
afterwards, though, knowing you've done that to another human being? That you force somebody like that? How could you live with yourself? That's just ridiculous. It's horrific.
No idea.
It's horrible.
It's sad. It's really sad that this happened to her. You
Yeah.
know, and unfortunately, things are only going to get worse. Her night is just starting, really. At about between 4 and 4:30 that morning, she was finally able to get out of the apartment.
God.
And at about 4:25, a truck driver spotted Theresa walking down Route 104 towards Bellingham.
Okay.
Now this truck driver was a driver for Gerlich Farms, which is a dairy farm.
Yeah.
It's about halfway between where Franklin, Massachusetts is and Bellingham is.
Okay.
And so he was on his way to early morning shift at the dairy farm. He sees her. He picks up Theresa and gave her a ride to right before Gerlich Farms, the entrance to Gerlich Farms is. Now, from what I understand, there was a rule with the dairy farm that none of their drivers were allowed to pick up hitchhikers, which makes sense, right?
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I think he let her out early so that no one had seen that he had picked up someone.
Good for him.
And then he continued on to work.
So he knew she was safe. That's really good of him. Because obviously, because a lot of crimes happen where the perpetrator is a man against a woman, and for him to you would think you would be forgiven for thinking it's too much hassle to pick her up. You know, it's just too much hassle because she could have accused me of anything. I'd be the last person to hear. If anything happened, I could get in serious trouble. So I'll just carry on driving and it's all good. But he picked her up, made sure she was warm and safe, and then dropped her off closer. So good on him for that.
And we know that he dropped her off here because Theresa would carry on walking, and she was actually picked up by a second driver for Gerlich Farms. He was actually leaving.
Oh, okay.
And so he picked her up and then gave her a ride all the way back to Bellingham.
Oh, that's good. Good for him.
Where he would dropped her off outside of the police station.
Oh, perfect.
So this was
yeah.
So this was about 5 a.m. when he dropped her off.
Yeah. Somewhere safe.
Now, according to somewhere safe. Now, according to the truck driver, she was clearly intoxicated and had been mumbling her words. Now, during the drive to Bellingham, Theresa had told him about the sexual assault.
Oh, God.
And that driver actually encouraged her to report that to the police.
Yeah.
So that's why he said, okay, I'm going to take you to the police station, go inside, tell them what happened.
And she's probably suffering from shock. In all fairness, it's a pretty horrific thing that's happened to her. So she's probably, as well as being inebriated, she is obviously going to have some sort of mental trauma from this. So the poor girl's in a bit of a state, I think, quite a bit. So I'm glad that he dropped her off somewhere safe.
No, absolutely. Now, according to Bellingham police, they have no reports of any sexual assaults occurring that night, and they have no records that indicate that Theresa ever went into the police station.
So she probably didn't. She probably just thought, I'll just go home. I'm closer to home. I'll just go home. It's embarrassing, isn't it? It's an embarrassing thing to have to talk through. It's horrible. It's awful.
Extremely.
She's probably feeling very shameful, which she shouldn't, but she probably is. And she doesn't want to go and talk through that with people.
This is 1978 too, where sexual assault and rapes are viewed in a completely different light.
Yeah. Bless her. I feel so bad for her.
This was a time period where police
Oh, it's totally
easily
different.
would blow it
yeah,
off.
it's totally different to now. Totally different.
Yeah.
If you've ever
So
seen Life on
she
Mars,
does.
you'll know it's totally different.
Yeah. So doesn't seem like she went to the police station, and she just kind of continued on her way. Now, according to eyewitness accounts, Theresa was spotted next walking along Main Street in Bellingham. So the police station is on Main Street. So she's walking. Main Street kind of goes in a northwest direction. So she's heading northwest towards where she lived.
Yeah.
Okay. So numerous people who were on their way to work that morning did say, yeah, I saw her walking down the street, or someone that fit her description walking down the street.
Yeah.
Now, her last known sighting was at approximately 5:30 a.m. on the morning of December 5th. Okay. At that time, she was seen hitchhiking near the Dairy Queen in Bellingham.
People don't hitchhike.
They shouldn't be hitchhiking when the Dairy Queen is only a few minutes walk to your home, as well as a police station. She was less than a mile from her house, and she's still trying to hitchhike the last mile.
Yeah. Well, she's probably in pain. To be fair, the things that have happened to her that evening, she's probably in quite a bit of pain. She's very upset. She's traumatized. She just wants to get home. So I can understand why she just wants to get home. Safe.
No,
She'll feel
absolutely.
safe at home,
Absolutely. Now, the following morning, Theresa's mother woke up to find that her daughter had not returned home.
That's a horrible feeling.
This was a cause for immediate concern, since it was unusual for Theresa to stay out late, let alone not come
home at all. That's right, without phoning.
Yeah,
that's a horrible feeling.
Now, I wouldn't.
No, it's just a horrible feeling.
No, you just know that something's wrong.
Yeah, instantly.
You just know something's wrong.
Yeah.
I couldn't.
It's that sick feeling, isn't it? It's that.
Yeah.
It's that sick parent that if you've ever lost your kid in the aisle of a supermarket, like for momentarily, it's that sick feeling that just sinks, and you just think, "Oh my God, where are they?" And especially if this is not usual for her mum, poor mum, that must have been awful.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It's heartbreaking. Now, later that day, once again, December 5th, at 2:15 p.m., the Bellingham police were notified that Theresa was missing. It is unclear what happened to Theresa after she was last seen hitchhiking near the Dairy Queen, but it's easily assumed that she may have been picked up by someone else in a vehicle. Right?
Yeah.
So I think that's the assumption, that she was out hitchhiking. She doesn't make it home. Someone else had to have picked her up, and
she's gone somewhere else. Yeah.
Yes. Now, on the afternoon of December 8th, 1978, so this is really 3 days later, a man calling himself John Burlington called the Bellingham police station.
I was just about to say Bellingham, Bellington. That's close.
Yeah. It is very close.
Yeah.
So John Burlingham called Bellingham police.
Yeah.
Okay?
Interesting.
Now, he stated that he was a businessman from Connecticut, and on his way home, he had stopped on the side of Interstate 495 to relieve himself.
Okay.
As he walked into the woods, he saw the body of a female lying nude on her back.
Oh, God. Okay.
So really, this is right off the freeway. There's a like a guardrail. Past the guardrail is a wooded area, and you would actually have to go into the wooded area. And it was almost like in a ditch where the body was. Okay.
So he went in there to relieve himself. So are we talking like he's just like urinating at the side of the road? Or are we talking he went in for different things?
He's urinating inside the woods. In order to see
really?
her, he would have been inside the woods.
That's what I'm saying. Like every man I know that has ever stopped on a motorway or on a road where they need to use the toilet and they can't, they literally just do it up against the car. Or like near the car. Yeah. It's normally the women that will run off into the woods because obviously anatomy, we can't just stand there and do that. So if he's going in there just to have a wee, why is he going all the way in the woods to do that? That's strange to me.
Can I tell you something else that's strange about this whole situation?
Yeah.
I said he was from Connecticut.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I said that he told the police that he was on his way home.
Yeah.
Where Teresa's body was off of Interstate 495
was not on his way home.
It was off the northbound lane.
So he's lying.
So he would have been driving north. In order to get to Connecticut, he would have had to have gone south.
So he's lying. Yeah. So he's not anywhere near her because he's on completely the wrong side of the road.
Exactly.
Interesting. Okay. Exactly. So Mr. Bellingham or Mr. Larrington or whatever he's called is quite clearly
Mr. Burlington,
our perpetrator.
Possibly.
Well, he would be my number one. Let's say at the beginning, he would be my number one suspect. You're phoning in about finding a body.
Oh, no. Yes.
And you're telling me you're going back to Connecticut, but you're going in the wrong direction. So where are you going? And you're telling me that you stopped at the side of the road to relieve yourself, but actually went off into the woods. So, interesting. Yep. Okay, he would be my number one.
So like I said, when police arrived on scene, they were able to quickly locate the body, and they were able to determine that it was the body of Theresa Corley.
That's horrible. Okay? Yeah.
Like I said earlier, her body was lying in a ditch past the guardrail, a fair distance off of the road. Now, a jacket and a pair of jeans were found lying next to the body, along with a pair of mismatched shoes. Okay?
Okay.
Now, apparently the shoes that she had on were earth shoes. I don't know if you're familiar with them. At first, I wasn't sure exactly what they meant by earth shoes.
Okay.
But once I looked them up, they made sense. They're almost like a slip-on shoe.
Yeah.
Almost like a dock shoe.
Okay.
They're usually like in a neutral tone, and like where your toes are, that part of the shoe is wider than like where your heel is.
Oh,
so if you saw them, you'd probably reckon them almost like a moccasin. They almost look like a moccasin.
Okay, but they weren't hers.
Now, apparently, one of the shoes was a male shoe, and the other one was hers. Okay. One of the shoe that appeared to be a man's shoe, its match was found later on back at the Presidential Arms.
That was what I was going to say to you, because if she is desperate to get out of that place, and obviously to do what they needed to do to her, they would be taking her clothes off. I'm wondering if she's got dressed in a hurry, grabbed literally anything she could grab to get out. Yes. And so she's grabbed a pair of man's jeans or male's jeans because it's the closest thing to her. Because to be fair, you're not going to give a shit that your trousers that you've got on aren't yours. You're just going to want to get the hell out of there as quick as you can. So that doesn't surprise me that she's in mismatched stuff. It's
So
interesting that the lorry drivers didn't say that she was in, but I guess just looking at her, they probably wouldn't know that they were male jeans. I used to wear male jeans when I was a teenager. I used to wear boys' jeans because they were much more comfortable and baggier, and they were just in fashion at the time. So that doesn't surprise me. But at the same time, I think she's just grabbed anything she could to get herself out of there as quick as she could. So it'd be interesting to see if those trousers belong to somebody from the party.
Would you be shocked if they did?
No, I wouldn't be shocked at all.
They did.
Yeah, I thought so, because she's just trying to get herself the hell out of there. She just grabbed anything she could by the sounds of things to get herself safely out. Oh, bless her.
Now, police were never able to recover her top or her undergarments. So those were missing. So all we have is the jacket was hers.
Yeah.
She had the pair of jeans next to her, which were men's jeans, and the mismatched shoes.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now, her body did not have any drag marks on it, which led investigators to believe that at least 2 people probably disposed of the body.
Oh, okay.
So with the distance that she was in the woods, you would have expected to see some sort of drag marks. Scrapes on her body, drag marks in the dirt, in the leaves, but there was none of that. So immediately said, okay, two people had to dispose of the body.
Okay, so can I ask, did any of the guys from the party have access to a vehicle?
Oh yeah, they did.
So so let's just say if they were, let's look at this scenario. So those guys have realized that what they've done is rape and sexual assault, and she's left, and they've suddenly thought about what they've done. The fact that she can identify all three of them. Okay. They then know where she's going because they know of her. They go and see if they can find her. But at this point, obviously, she's got into two different lorries, basically, to get, to be lifted home. So they then find her because she's still walking, still on her own, still hitchhiking. There's three of them there. But this man in the car sees what was happening, sees that there's something a bit strange going on there. And that's why he's called it in, because he's not wanting to get involved, but he has seen that something's gone on. He's gone to check, and there she is, and she's already deceased in the woods. So he might not be the person that was,
it's possible,
might not be the person that is actually responsible for it, but could have witnessed something, but doesn't want to come forward and say that because the court case that he's going to have to go to, and it's going to be a long old road for him.
My question is, would you wait 3 days to report that though?
Yeah,
I guess it's possible.
If it was playing on your mind, because if you did nothing, and then you went back to check where they took her and found that she was dead, then you're going to be going, oh my God, if I had done something, she would still be alive. So I have to call this in because I couldn't leave a girl there. She's been murdered. And then his conscience has got the better of him, and he's called it in. But he's not going to leave his name because he didn't do anything for 3 days. And so it's going to look bad on him.
No, it's true. That's true.
I'm just straight away, as soon as you said that there's no drag marks, we're looking at more than one person, unless he's picked her up from the car and he's carried her himself, which you could pick me up and carry me alone, so that could be the case. It is one person, but this, just when you said that, I thought, I wonder if those boys have actually talked to. Well, they're not boys, are they? They're early 20s, so they're men. They're not even boys.
Yeah,
so
they are.
They've now talked about what they've done and gone, shit. This is what we've done. We're now rapists, and we're going to get in trouble for this. Because what if she tells?
I think that's what most people would be their first assumption. I think you're right. I think most people are like, okay, they are the most likely suspects in this case.
To keep her quiet. Because of what they did to her.
To keep her quiet.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now, the boys, I'm going to call them boys again. They were not boys. The men, these three men were questioned by police, but they were never charged with anything.
They didn't admit it then?
And to the sexual assault.
Yeah.
It does not assume so.
So how do we know that happened,
right?
then? So how do we know that this happened between them? If they haven't admitted it, how do we know what's happened to her?
Because this got out because the three of them, they talked.
Oh, so they
friends.
have admitted it. They have admitted that they did it, just not to police.
Yeah, yes.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yes.
So I was just thinking this might be something that people have seen them all go off together and thought they've done something to her. So we do know that this definitely did happen. Just the police,
yes.
They haven't said, okay, thank you.
Yeah, and there are other people at the apartment that were witness to this.
Okay, right.
So they knew what happened.
Right, okay.
Okay.
So we know that this did
100%
this did happen. Okay.
Yeah, and this was also confirmed with the autopsy. So the autopsy actually did confirm that Theresa had been a victim of sexual assault that night.
Right, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
We also know that this is absolutely a murder because her death certificate shows that the cause of death was asphyxiation by strangulation with a ligature.
Oh, okay.
So this was absolutely a murder.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, we're going to quickly just jump back to this John Burlington.
Okay.
Now, early in the investigation, suspicion would fall on John Burlington.
Of course.
Because first off, he's the person that reported the body.
So
you find the body, you're going to have to okay, let's find out what we can learn
you're
about. This guy,
yeah.
Okay. Now, police would first be skeptical about him since he actually had used a non-emergency inside number.
Yeah.
That someone from outside the area would not have known.
So he's local.
So he is a local. He's someone local. He's not from Connecticut.
No.
Okay. They also would have known that this person actually called, since they called Bellingham. They would have known that this body was located in Bellingham. But if you're from the area, you would have no clue that this was Bellingham. Okay.
Okay.
So he knew the area.
Yeah.
Very well.
Right.
Okay. Now, investigators would also find out that when they tried to find this caller, they were able to determine that the man had given a fake name.
Well, yeah.
So there was
obviously.
no John Burlington.
No.
Yeah. So John Burlington didn't exist. He wasn't from Connecticut. He wasn't a businessman.
No.
So, of course, you're going to be very suspicious of this caller. Like, who actually is he?
Yeah.
Okay.
And if he did just stumble upon her, if he did, I don't blame him. I don't blame him for using a different name. If he's got nothing to do with it, you don't want to be dragged into something like that. You've reported it. You've done your bit. You know, that's why I say to people, if you see something, even if it's anonymously, you've got to say something. You don't have to give your name. If you've got nothing to do with it, you don't have to. You just report it so that they can start, investigating. But I can understand he's a lone man and he's found a young girl dead in the bushes. I can understand him not wanting to give his name and get involved, because that's going to bring him in a whole heap of... But I mean, you'd be cleared quickly. You'd be cleared with DNA. You'd be cleared with all sorts of stuff like that. So, but back then maybe it wasn't... Well, it's 1978, isn't it? So it wouldn't be. Yeah. So I can understand why he didn't come forward if he had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, exactly.
At least he called it in.
Exactly. Now, the other strange thing that occurred on the 8th was you have this phone call from this John Burlington, okay? Just a few minutes after the call was made with the location of Theresa's body, a man arrived at the Bellingham Police Department asking if the body found on 495 was that of Theresa Corley, okay? The problem with this is this inquiry was made before any patrolman had been dispatched to the scene and prior to the discovery of the body being made public. So no one should have known that a body was found on Interstate 495. The only people that knew at this point was the John Burlington caller.
Yeah. And whoever
and the
murdered
dispatcher
her.
that took the call.
Yeah.
Oh, no, and the dispatcher that took the call.
Yeah. So if that's the case, so it's not him. He's not John Burlington. We don't think.
We don't know.
Oh,
there
okay.
is some.
Is he going to drive in?
People.
Why would you do that? Why would you phone it in and then immediately drive to the police station? That doesn't sound right to me.
Isn't that is very strange?
Yeah, you would just either call or you would go to the police station. You wouldn't call it in and then immediately drive to the police station and ask if it's her. So I wonder if
especially if you're local.
Yeah.
Especially if you're local and you're like, hey, did you find that body? Is that Theresa's?
Well,
and then
unless they talked again.
What do you mean?
Well, okay. So let's say it was the responsibility of those 3 guys that hurt her. Let's say that they went back and sorted the problem to stop her from identifying them, then went back to the party. Because we're talking 3 days later. They've gone back and they've talked about it. And then somebody else has gone in and said, is the body that was found there, is that really Theresa? Because they've heard these people talking about it and they've gone back and said, is it really her? Because if it is, then those boys are telling the truth. And they did do what they said they've done. Yeah. So it could be just a complete coincidence that it happened at after that guy. Because I don't understand why you would phone it and then drive in. It could just be a complete coincidence that at the same time, this person from this party has gone in there and said, look, is that body on the highway that you guys have found, not knowing that they haven't found it yet, Right. Because it's 3 days later. So, yeah. Oh, that's weird, isn't it? That's really weird.
It's very
so many
weird.
questions.
It is very weird.
So many questions.
Now, regrettably, there is very limited information about the initial stages of the investigation.
Of course, understandably.
The primary focus at the beginning was really gathering witness statements and interviewing individuals that had been at the Presidential Arms apartment.
Of course, because you've got to get that information quick because people forget they've been drinking. memories get a bit hazy. So I can understand that.
Now, additionally, a significant amount of evidence related to the case has been either lost or destroyed over
Oh,
the years.
no, not again.
Yes.
It's frustrating as hell, that is.
This is crazy.
Yeah.
Now, Theresa's family have been informed that critical evidence, including vaginal swabs taken from Theresa, were destroyed in a fire. Okay?
What?
Here's the thing. So apparently, they were told that the location that this evidence was held, including these vaginal swabs, it was being held at a mortuary, and that the mortuary, there was a fire at the mortuary that destroyed all this evidence.
Okay. That's easy to
The problem
prove.
with this, well, here's the thing. The problem, there is no records anywhere of any mortuary fire that destroyed state's evidence. Zero. There's nothing out there about this. Okay?
So that's weird.
It is very weird. Now, what's most likely happened is, at this time, the Massachusetts State Police was located at a building at 1010 Commonwealth in Boston. Okay. If you look up 1010 Commonwealth evidence, let's just say that this Commonwealth Avenue evidence room was not kept very well. Okay.
Well,
so just a few years ago, they discovered that evidence that was being stored at this location was basically being stored haphazardly, to say the least.
This is 1978
evidence
as
was
well.
just kind of like,
yeah.
No. Well, this was just a few years ago when this story came out.
Oh, God.
Yes. So this is probably within the past 10 years when they went back and they discovered all this evidence was kind of just thrown about and just like stacked on top of each other.
Oh, no.
Nothing was recorded. So Massachusetts State Police lost a ton of evidence for thousands of cases because they were not organized.
Oh, that's
all this
bad.
evidence is gone.
That's so bad.
So more than likely, it wasn't a fire.
No.
This is just my opinion. I don't think it was a fire. I think that this evidence was being stored at 1010 Commonwealth Avenue.
Yeah,
and it was just lost because nothing was being recorded.
And they're not going to admit to that.
They had 20 some years of rape kits that they had stored.
Awful.
That they could not actually go and like review them or test them because they didn't know whose kit belonged to who.
That's just mad, isn't it? It's just, you've got a responsibility. You've got a responsibility. All those cases, all that evidence lost. That's really, really disappointing, and it's just not right. It's really not right.
Yeah. I mean, these vaginal swabs that's a huge piece of this investigation.
Yeah.
Right? So yeah, we know that she was sexually assaulted by,
someone.
At least one boy, if not two or three. But what if someone else completely different picked her up and she was assaulted again?
Yeah, that's right. That poor girl.
So now you have this possible evidence of another person who it's just gone. Just gone.
And not in just one case, in likely hundreds of cases. That's hundreds of people, predators that are going, free, not being convicted of their things. I just don't understand it. It frustrates me so much with this whole evidence thing. The amount of cases that we've done where I've said to you, oh, and then there was a fire, or then there was a flood, and evidence shouldn't be destroyed. It shouldn't. Until that case is proven 100%, that evidence should be kept safe in a box, in a lockup somewhere. There shouldn't be this. We shouldn't have this. Whether it's 1948, 1968, things like that should be kept. I know we don't have the forensic foresight of what's coming in the future, and I don't know why nowadays we're not forensically looking forward, because if we've got technology now to do things like DNA and genial DNA stuff, we should know that technology is going to advance in the next 10 years by God knows what. We used to be able to use up so much of a sample of DNA when DNA was first introduced that you would lose a DNA with one testing. Now you can test it with like the tiniest bit, and they can do so much with that. So what's it going to be like in 10 years' time? Forensically, we're going to be on another plane,
Yeah.
We need to
Okay, listen to this. So
sort things
this was
out.
back in 2007.
Yeah.
All right. I'm just gonna read you this headline. Okay.
Okay.
Crime Lab didn't test 16,000
Oh,
cases.
wow.
4,000 rape evidence
16,000.
kits were not screened for DNA.
We're just talking, not even talking one or two. We're talking thousands. That is just crazy.
Thousands.
It's just no good.
Thousands.
It's no good.
It's not.
No, it's not
It's
good.
not.
What is wrong with us?
It's really, really sad. Now, in May 2017, Theresa's remains were exhumed and fingernails were collected for DNA testing.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, tests on the fingernails did not yield any results as no DNA evidence was recovered.
Okay.
In 2018, a DNA sample was extracted from a small section of the jeans that were found near Theresa's body.
Yeah.
That sample was analyzed, and it was revealed that it contained semen.
Okay.
Further analysis of the DNA, not surprisingly, further analysis of the DNA profile indicated that it matched one of the men who was present at the President's Arms apartment on the night that Theresa was murdered. Okay.
Yeah.
So now we know we have at least some DNA evidence that's linking back to that apartment. Okay?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, despite this DNA evidence, the district attorney decided not to pursue charges against this suspect for any crime. Okay.
Right.
This was first due to the fact that statutes of limitations had expired for the sexual assault charge. And also there was the inability to charge the suspect solely with murder based on the DNA evidence. So what they said basically was, yeah, there's semen on the pants, but that doesn't prove. First off, they said there's semen on these jeans. That doesn't prove sexual assault,
No,
and that
no.
obviously does not prove murder. Okay.
Well, no, because I mean, we're talking about lads in their 20s, right? Okay, lads aren't that clean, are they? Realistically, guys in their 20s are going to wear their jeans more than once. You don't, she just grabbed a pair of jeans and put them on. You don't know, that guy could have been wearing them for like 2 or 3 days before, not wearing any pants underneath, and so there's semen in there. That doesn't prove that person sexually assaulted her, but if that semen was inside her, then it's different.
Exactly. Yeah.
But you can't just
right.
can't convict that guy on the fact that there's semen on his own jeans. That could have come from anywhere.
Mm-hmm. No, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Now, investigators believe that there are other items that were collected as evidence back in 1978 that can now be tested due to advancements in DNA technology, such as MBAC or touch DNA testing.
Yep.
Now, witnesses are also being approached for new DNA samples as well. So there is some opportunity to do some more testing. Now, what's amazing about this was originally Theresa's sister, Jerry, had started a GoFundMe in order to raise the money to get
because it's not cheap.
Items. It's not cheap.
No.
To get these items tested. And I believe she had raised almost $25,000.
Oh my God, good for her.
Now, after she was able to raise the money, the district attorney actually came back and said, "Hey, don't worry about it. We're going to cover the costs for you."
Amazing.
So Theresa's sister turned around and she actually donated the money that she made from that GoFundMe to the police station, and I believe it was in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, so that they could actually acquire this MBAC technology.
That is amazing.
So she was able to
That's amazing.
take that and turn around and help another police department.
Well done to her. That's so good. Because the thing is a lot of stuff comes down to money and budgets, and with things like that, that's why all the Lost Girls that we are on the board of, that's what they raise money for. We raise money to try and give people and little police stations that don't have the budget to carry out this kind of DNA testing the chance to be able to carry out DNA testing and to help solve cases like this. Good for her. Good for Jerry. That's amazing. That's really, really cool.
It is amazing.
That is brilliant.
So she's was able to help out another police department, and hopefully that they're going to be able to use that technology and solve, future crimes. So that's really, really good. I think at this point we can really start diving into some of these suspects and what we think happened.
Okay.
There are some people out there that might think, oh, this sounds like a serial killer, right? This could be a serial killer. I'm going to say no.
No, I don't
right
think
off the
so.
bat. The chances of this being a lone serial killer are very minute.
Very
in
opportunistic,
my opinion, right?
yeah.
What are the chances that a serial killer was in the area at that very moment at 5:30 in the morning on December 5th,
Yeah.
came across her, was able to dispose of her body?
No.
I don't see that happening.
This is going to be somebody who's local to the area.
Is someone local?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
Someone local to the area.
So let's talk about, we kind of talked about them already, but the men who were at the Presidential Arms apartments, and could they be involved? Yeah, I think absolutely. Just because they were involved in sexual assault, they, who knows what their mindset was afterwards.
That's right. They've been drinking.
And as they're sobering up, they're probably freaking out. Like, what the hell did we just do?
Yep.
Let's go find her, and we got to make sure that, we're all on the same page.
Yeah. And
maybe they hadn't gone out and their plan was murder.
No.
But it just happened to occur that way, right?
Yep.
What if I say that there's a third option that we haven't even touched on?
Okay.
Would you be shocked?
No, because I know you, and I know you're going to however me, so no, I wouldn't be shocked.
Okay, so I'm not going to use names because...
because that would be irresponsible.
I'm not going to use irresponsible. So apparently...
Let's change the name.
While Theresa was at train station lounge...
Yeah.
She had insulted someone...
Okay.
There that took great offense to it.
Yep.
Okay? Let's say that hypothetically, this person was okay. Maybe we just use person A, person B.
I think so.
C.
Yeah, I think it'd be a good idea because I think even if you use their first name, I think it could still come back to bite us. So I think we just use person A, do it like that.
Okay. So was person A?
Mm-hmm.
What would say person A was the person who was at this train station lounge,
the one that she upset.
She insulted. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, person B in this situation was also at the train stop lounge.
Okay.
Who would later go and be a part of the group that sexually assaulted Theresa back at the Presidential Arms.
Right. Okay.
Apartment.
Okay. So that's one of the three.
So one of the three. So person B. Yeah. After Theresa leaves, after the sexual assault, he leaves. And he goes to another apartment complex.
Yeah.
This one being the Alpine. Okay.
Yeah.
Alpine is where Ricky lived. Ricky is Theresa's boyfriend.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, it's believed that person B went to this other apartment complex looking for either Ricky and or Theresa. Okay. Now, at that point, it's believed that person B called person C. Person C is new to the situation. Okay.
Right. Okay.
Person C is stepbrother to person B. Okay.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Now, how
this is not looking good for them.
How he gets brought into it is person C is actually interviewed by police after the discovery of Theresa's body.
Okay.
And he states that morning he actually picked up person A.
Oh, okay.
Prior to Theresa getting picked up in Bellingham at the Dairy Queen station. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on here. So not only does person C state that he picked up person A that day, so we know that they were together, and person A is stepbrothers to person B who had been involved in a sexual assault.
Yeah.
Person C has a uncle who lived above a like a diner, which was
Right.
directly across the street from the police station.
The police station where
So
she was
I
dropped off
think
by the
where she was
dropped off by the guy driving the truck.
the trucker. Yes, the truck
Yeah.
driver. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So in this scenario, person A, who was insulted by Theresa,
Yeah.
and person C are now together in
No,
person
yeah.
C's white van.
Oh.
It's believed that they then were quickly able to find Theresa, get her into the van, and take her where they maybe not purposely or had plans on killing her, but ended up killing her.
Oh, God.
And dropping off the body.
So this is definitely, by the sounds of what you're saying, we're still looking at the likely perpetrators being those three plus the stepbrother of one of the three.
Yes. So this kind of all goes back to, I think there's two things involved in this. I think there is the person A who's still pissed off at Theresa for, insulting him and,
Yeah.
And then also it goes back to person B who was involved in the sexual assault. So I think what happened and what makes sense to me is that these groups are kind of working together in order to get to Theresa to make sure that she's not going to report.
She's not going to report any of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now it's also believed that this is where it also comes into play where her body's left. So her body is actually left right on the border of Bellingham and Medway on the Bellingham side. So this would have fallen under Bellingham, under their jurisdiction.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now it's possible that this person C, from what I understand, has family connections to the Bellingham police station and was also possibly working as a narc at the time. Okay. So within these groups and even with Ricky, there's a lot of drug use going on. There's a lot of drug dealing going on. So there's a lot of moving parts going on with this situation. Okay. So I think what happened was, and I think that person A, person C were able to catch up with Theresa, try to convince her not to do anything, report her. Theresa probably put up a fight, and that's when she ended up being killed and would later be disposed of.
I mean, I think it's pretty obvious that the three people involved in this aren't telling the whole truth, because obviously that's what it to me it seems like. They've panicked, they've sobered up a little bit after what they've done, they've talked about what they've done, and then they've realized how serious what they've done is. And the fact that she's gone off with one of their trousers, she's gone off with one of their pair of jeans. Okay. So they're then panicking because, or he's probably panicking because she has got his trousers on. So she's probably, they're probably panicking. And then it seems like they've gone to find help as who can help them. They find her, something happens. Who do they get to help them? Person, whoever's uncle that lives above the thingy, you need to help us because this is what's happened. And now we're in a situation where we've got a body and we need to, what do we do? All are local men, so all know the area. And then it makes you wonder if Mr. who called it in, Bellingham or whoever he was, Rottingham or whoever, it makes you wonder whether that's the uncle calling it in and saying, I was just relieving myself and there was a body.
It's possible. But I should mention that the dispatcher who took the call from quote unquote John Bellingham would later state that they believe that the voice on the line was that of person C.
There you are. So yeah, exactly. It makes sense that it's one of them. It makes sense that it's going to be one of those three or somebody.
And so here's the other thing with person A and person C.
Yeah.
While I find them to be stronger suspects than person B or anyone else that was back in the apartment with a sexual assault. After the murder and after they were interviewed, both person A and person C fled the state. They both
Well,
took off.
You don't flee if you've got nothing to worry about, do you?
Right.
If you're running away, you're running away from something. You don't run away if you're innocent. So, yeah.
And of the 3 guys back from the apartment, only one of them actually left the area, but he wasn't originally from the area. So it would make more sense that he would leave to go back home.
Yeah.
The other 2, including person B, A, never left the area, they stayed, and B, never deviated from their statements.
Right. So
I don't think think they had it does it says a lot. Unfortunately, both person A and person C have died.
Oh,
they both have died.
God damn it!
Due to drug use, possibly drug overdoses.
But then, something like this happening in your life is going to give you trauma, isn't it? If you're responsible for not only the death of somebody, but also for the indecent assault and rape of somebody, that's gonna give you mental issues. That's gonna play on your mind, knowing that you're a rapist and that you did that to somebody and she ended up dead. That's just awful. I mean, when you look at this as a parent or as a sister, as a sister, as a human being in general, but when you look at cases like this, when you have nothing to do with it, it's very easy. The language is very easy to use. When it's your family member that this has happened to, and you've got this kind of stuff where you've got the loss of the of crucial evidence, you've got people that are fleeing the country and then they're dying. It seems like such an injustice for her and for her family. It seems like, thank goodness that she was buried and not cremated. Because had she been cremated, they wouldn't have been able to exhume her, and they wouldn't have been able to get more evidence from her like they did. So her poor family, it seems to be that they've just taken one knock after another knock after another knock, and then these 2 are now dead. There's no justice, there's no justice for them in that. It's really upsetting.
Yeah,
it's really upsetting.
It really is.
It makes me angry. It makes me really angry for her family. She didn't deserve this. She was a good girl.
No.
Even if she had gone back to that hotel saying, "Yeah, I'm going to have sex with all of those guys because that's what I want to do," that's fine. If she then said, "No, I don't want to do this anymore," it should have stopped there. It should have completely stopped there. And the fact that her poor family have got all this information of what happened to her and the state she was in walking home, and her poor mum waking up and realising her daughter's not home and having that feeling that something's wrong, and then that feeling being true, something is really, really wrong. Her sister having to campaign for her, them having to hear all these horrific details of what happened to their sister, their daughter, their friend. It's just so wrong. It's so wrong. I hate this for them. I hate it. It's really bad. If you're going to do stuff like that, at least, have the guts to stand up and say, "Yeah, I'm an arsehole and I did that." Take that punishment because you bloody deserve it. Yeah. Drink involved, drugs involved or not, you still did it, and it's just shit.
I couldn't imagine.
I just want to hug her mum and her sister.
This is horrible. This is like,
because this is their life now. I don't know
what else could have gone wrong. This is horrible, horrible night. Yeah, and like you're right. This is their life, day in and day out. This is what they have to live
all the time. So they're living with this. They're living with this all the time. That this is what happened to her. And please, ladies, if you're listening to this podcast, please don't walk home alone. Don't get into a car with somebody you don't know. The technology we've got nowadays, the phones we've got nowadays, just phone somebody. Just get a lift home with someone just don't do it. Don't even chance it. Don't worry about not wanting to wake anybody up. Just phone someone Don't get in a car with somebody else. Just don't do it.
I mean, I even feel for like these 2 drivers that, like, good Samaritans that were trying to help her out. You have to feel for them.
Yeah.
Because they wanted to see her safe. They wanted her to get home, or they wanted her to seek help from the police. And They did everything they could.
The ripples in a murder inquiry. It affects so many people. It affects the victim. It affects the victim's families. It affects the police officers that find that person. It affects those two drivers that are never going to forget that they will be thinking to themselves, what if I just took her home? What if I just didn't drop her off there? What if I made sure she went into that police station? What if I walked her in? That's going to affect them for the rest of their lives. There's so many people affected by this.
It affects the suspects' families.
Of course,
I know we don't talk about that.
No,
but the families of these suspects,
the mums and dads,
whoever the mums and dads of these
accused people,
these guys, just they're innocent, and but they have to live with this now too, because they're like, especially the three guys back at the apartment, right? They're like, yeah, my son fucking sexually assaulted, raped a girl.
Yeah, and now she's dead. Exactly. What do you do? What can you do
now
as
you're
a mother?
Worried about, like, what's going to happen to my son now?
Yeah, because they've done something terrible. You still love them. They're still your child. Yeah. You may not agree with what their behavior, and you may find that disgusting and hate them for what they've done, but you still love them because they're your children. And like you say, it affects so many people. So many people. It's just it's awful. It's just so awful.
It is very awful.
So where are we now with the investigation?
Now, investigation. We are still waiting for touch DNA and back.
Okay, testing. Excellent. Yeah.
Which I believe has either begun or is going to be beginning soon.
That's really good news.
We are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we are still waiting on that. I feel like this. Yeah. Hopefully something comes back with that. This really reminds me of the Kristen O'Connell case that we did. This one happened up in New York, where Kristen was from Minnesota. She had met a boy on spring break who lived in New York. I think it was like upstate New York. Met him, and then she ended up dead. And I say it reminds me of that case because I think that these are two cases where people know what happened.
Yeah.
People have talked, but no one's really coming forward with the information that police need.
Yeah. This reminds me of the Sidney Duquette case. You know, where we've got very, very strong evidence belief that we know who did it. However, that person is now passed away, and what can you do? And that was a suicide, wasn't it? He committed suicide, and then now there's because that's the thing in this case. Even if it turns out to be the two people that have since died of drug overdoses and stuff, her family will at least have an answer as to who did this to her. Not why, because they're not going to find out why, but they know who. They know how. There's still other people. Those two may not be alive anymore, but there are other people alive that know what happened that night. That could ease the suffering of her family. They're never gonna eradicate the suffering of her family ever, because it's never gonna. The only way to do that would be to bring her back safely, and that's not going to happen for them. But to know what happened, even if it doesn't bring her back, but to know what happened and to give them some answers. Because I think as a human, you want to know why. Why did you do that? Why did you do that to her? Why? And you're not going to know that unless they come to you and say, we did it because of this. And 9 times out of 10, they're not going to do that because they don't have the balls to do it.
She didn't deserve any of this.
No, hell no.
None of this.
No, she didn't.
She went to go celebrate a friend's birthday.
And whether she insulted them or not, nobody deserves this.
No.
No one deserves that.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I really hope the DNA stuff comes through for her family. I really hope that.
Oh, me too.
The evidence can come through and help them.
No, I do want to say thank you to Teresa's sister Jerry, who has helped me out tremendously on this case. We've been
thank you.
Talking back and forth. Also, I want to thank Jeffrey Santolo, who is an author who is working with Jerry in a book on Teresa's murder, which I believe is it's I believe he's currently working on, almost finished with the second draft, so it should be out within the next year or
I'd love to
so.
read it. I would love to read it, and we'll tell you all about it as soon as it's out. We'll let you know where you can get it, so you can get a copy for yourself to read.
Yes, and so I know that with what he has, he's coming out with names, so there's going to be names.
Yeah.
Associated with these persons.
I mean, we deliberately
didn't. It's going to be interesting.
We chose to deliberately not name any names in this case. It's an ongoing investigation, and we're both very aware that there will be people listening to this podcast, and we don't want to jeopardize any case whatsoever. And so we deliberately chose to keep names out of it for that reason. We're not doing this to try and be heroes and try and, it's not like that for us. We just want to spread the word about this case because somebody somewhere could be listening to this and know something that is really important that should be known to the police and should be known to her family. So that's why. But thank you.
Even if you've heard something in passing.
Yeah.
You've heard something in passing, someone's mentioned it. Like, oh yeah, I remember back in 1978, my friend knew this girl who was murdered and apparently so-and-so.
Yeah.
Whatever information. If you have any information, take it to authorities.
Yeah, just pass it on.
Because you never know.
It could be nothing.
Could be the one,
but it could be
nothing. Or it could be the break they're looking for.
Exactly. So just do it. Just pass the information on as best you can and help this poor family, help her sister, help her mum. They need it.
I am with this case. I just have this feeling that this one is going to have some sort of resolution.
Yeah, I hope so.
That a name is going to be attached to her.
I hope
to her as her murderer.
Yeah, I really, really hope so.
I think so too.
Thank you. That was
so. There you go.
I really hope that this reaches someone's ears somewhere that knows something, and we can get some information to her family and can help with this case. So, yeah, any information you've got, please do pass it on.
Absolutely.
Okay, so at this point of the show, at the end of the show, obviously sensitive subjects we've been talking about, we try and finish on something that's going to be a little bit fun, something that's just going to lighten up the mood slightly. And this is a segment that we like to call Dumb Criminal.
Hey, dum-dum head, you's a real jackass.
Okay, so this week we're talking about a guy called Bobby Heath, a guy who was 26 years old and who was caught on CCTV taking a Samsung Galaxy. Okay, this is in 2016. And okay, not such a huge thing. It's just a mobile phone, but stealing, and you shouldn't do it. So he was due to appear at Camberwell Green Magistrates Court, okay, charged with the theft of a smartphone. He was actually serving time for a completely unrelated matter, refused to leave prison, and was tried and found guilty in his absence, okay? So he was appearing, he had appeared before for drugs and driving offences, and he was fined. Now, after a meeting with his defence barrister, a girl called Charlotte Johnson, she realised that her Samsung Galaxy mobile phone was missing, okay?
Oh, God. Okay.
So this idiot stole a mobile phone from the barrister who was defending him on drug and driving offences.
No.
Are you stupid? So this woman is helping you, trying to get you off of the drug and driving offences that you're in prison for, okay? Whilst you're there, you steal her mobile phone.
Jesus Christ. That's unbelievable.
What an idiot.
Are you that desperate?
Yeah.
Or you can't have no self-control? Like none.
I was just like, really? She's there to help you, like, and you've just stolen her mobile phone. Who else is it going to be? It's not going to be the other officers in the room, is it? It can only be you.
No.
How stupid are you?
Okay, so you have a barrister. You have one or two security guards.
Yeah.
You have a guy that's representing for drunk driving.
Yeah.
Who's also been charged with stealing a phone. I don't know which one. Who you think took
it? Who is likely to have taken it? So then they caught him. They caught him on CCTV taking it. They looked at the CCTV and they can see him blatantly do it. But even if they didn't have CCTV, who else could it have been? There's just him and her in the room.
Oh my God.
You know?
What is he going to do with it? You're in jail, bro.
Exactly. You're telling me they're not going to know he's making calls from it? It's just ridiculous. What a silly bugger. So that did make me laugh because I thought, you're in jail already for something else. She's trying to get you out and then you nick her phone. Like, how stupid are you? So that is this week's dumb criminal.
At that point, do you just kind of recuse yourself from that? Like, I can't represent you anymore.
I would be saying that. I'd be saying, look, there's no hope. You're
luck.
Stealing from the person who's trying to help you. Yeah, good luck on your way, my love.
I know. I mean, or you could be vindictive and just be a horrible barrister, right?
Yeah, and get him put away for ages. Just be really crap. Just get him put away.
You can't do that. We can't.
No, it doesn't make you look good, does it? No,
but you should.
Just get your phone back and then just say, no, that's it. I'm going to leave you to somebody else. So thank you for joining us. We will be back next week with another episode for you. It'll be my episode next week. And then the week after that, we'll be off for a bit because we're off traveling to Arkansas and all over the place.
That's right. But then we'll be back. I think we're back before we go to.
Yeah, we'll be back before
London,
CrimeCon.
right?
Yeah, we're back before CrimeCon London.
Okay.
So, so we'll see you next week. Thank you very much for joining us this week. So for now, be nice.
And bye.